Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. It'll just take a couple moments for everyone to be let in from the waiting room. So we'll just give a little bit of time here, a couple of moments. But in case you're trying to adjust your sound, we'll just welcome you into the space and say good evening and thanks for being here. And we'll just give it another minute or two to make sure everyone gets in safely from the virtual waiting room. And then we will get started. All right. Okay. Hopefully everyone has safely landed inside the webinar. It looks like we've got folks here, so that's great news. It's lovely to see you all. You are here for the City Center Catchment Review Open House for Talmey families this evening. So we're fortunate to have Talmey Timberwolf families in the house tonight. We look forward to providing you with some meaningful information this evening about the City Center Catchment Review process and the public consultation that's underway. I want to remind folks that tonight's meeting will be recorded and that tomorrow all Talmey families will receive a link to the recording. So we will make sure that that's in your inbox tomorrow. I'd like to also just take a second as we come together here this evening in this virtual space to acknowledge and thank the First Peoples of the Hunkaminam language speaking group on whose traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live. It's a lovely evening out, and so I hope we can get you some good quality information this evening and try and answer some of your questions through the Q&A, and then maybe get you back out into the sunshine for a little bit more daylight this evening. There's three of us on screen tonight that are going to be presenting some information to you. It's my pleasure to introduce Cindy Wang, who is our Secretary Treasurer. My name is Bronwyn Thompson. I'm an Assistant Superintendent with the district, and I have the privilege of supporting Talmey Elementary and all your lovely children. As well, we have Jonathan Ho here, who's the director of the Richmond project team. And so Jonathan is going to really lead us through some of the information regarding the two possible scenarios for consultation and that we're looking for your feedback on. The planning department has done a lot of work to look at different possible catchment scenarios for the new elementary school located on Audlin Crescent. So this evening, I'm just going to take a moment or two to show you a few of the features on Zoom that you might find useful this evening during our webinar. And then Cindy will just talk a little bit about the purpose of the catchment review and the timeline and how you're able to engage and give us feedback. And then Jonathan will really do most of the heavy lifting tonight, and we'll show you some 3D renderings of what the new Audlin School is going to look like. And then he'll run through the two possible catchment scenarios that we're seeking public feedback on. And just one more time, if there was anyone who popped in a little bit late to the webinar, this will be recorded. So if you have to leave early this evening, or if you want to rewatch it back and see some of the key points, the recording link will be sent to you tomorrow via email. So here on Zoom, we have two different features if you wish to use them to help you participate and help you engage with the information this evening. One is you should have a bar on the bottom of your screen, and then whether you're looking on a computer or perhaps a mobile device, you are able to enable captions. And what that will do is you can ask it to show you captions in the language of your choice. So it will not translate our slides, but it will translate and provide you with captions for what we're saying this evening. So I'll leave that on the screen just for another moment. But if you turn captions on, and then you can actually choose what language you'd like the captions to be in. If you find that to be a helpful support tonight, that is enabled on this webinar. The other thing we want to draw your attention to is also on the toolbar. It's a question mark in a speaking bubble box. And it enables you as participants to type questions in that the panelists will be able to see. We will do our best to try and answer high-level themes that are emerging in the questions this evening, and we will also try and type back some answers to you where we're able. We will be cautious about not sharing individual or personal information, so we will be trying to just sort of tease out the high-level questions that are coming into the question and answer feature. So I hope that that's a good start for you, and I'll turn it over to Cindy to talk a little bit about why we're here.
Great. Thank you so much, Bronwyn, for the introduction. And good evening, everyone, to Talmey families. The Richmond School District, we're very excited to announce that the new City Center School will be opening at 8671 Audlin Crescent in September 2026. As we get ready for this new school, we're reviewing the nearby school catchments to number one, we want to create a new catchment area for the new school. And we also want to balance the enrollment and help with overcapacity at neighboring schools. We want to make sure our schools' resources and programs are used responsibly. The district, of course, will endeavor to have students attend schools close to their family. And we want to give families clarity on where their children will go to school. And ultimately, of course, our goal is to make the new school a great place for all students and a strong part of our learning community. So the key dates for the catchment review process are outlined on this slide. The process has been launched early September, and between September 3rd to October 27th, feedback will be gathered from the public, from families, and our community. In November, all public input will be reviewed and analyzed, and the decision will be made by Board of Education at the end of November. So the school district is committed to making sure families and community members have clear information and meaningful ways to share their input. We've created several engagement opportunities to gather feedback and making sure it's reflected in district planning and board decisions. All details and links are available on our website at sd38.bc.ca/city center catchment review. Each of the city center schools will host a school-specific virtual open house to walk you through the details and answer your questions. Also, we're offering an online survey available in both English and Chinese, so families, you can provide feedback conveniently in your preferred language. So you're welcome to go to the district website to enter the survey, online survey. Finally, we will have an in-person open house on September 16th at McNeil Secondary School, where community members and families, you're welcome to come and engage directly with our staff. So this is an overview of how the catchment review process will unfold. And I'm going to pause here to see if there are any general questions relating to the general process before we dive into the detailed information about the new school.
Cindy, nothing yet. So I'll continue to try and monitor and answer as we go, but I think Jonathan could go ahead and get started with some information about the new school.
Certainly. Thanks, Bronwyn. Before we get into the details of the Catchment review, we'll give everyone a sense of how many students the new elementary school will accommodate. The following renderings were developed by Trio Architecture and are based on our building permit designs. So the new elementary school in Audlin Crescent will be at 8671. Planned opening is September 2026. It has a capacity for 294 students and will feature 13 classrooms. That includes 2 kindergarten classrooms. We're designing the school to serve as a neighborhood K-7 program. This exterior view of the school with the new color scheme uses the same exterior paint colors of our elementary schools. This is the main foyer entrance to the school. These interior renderings show a typical classroom and the proposed library learning commons and large open concept space. The typical classroom shows collaborative stations for students, millwork, and the whiteboard against which the teacher can project materials. In the library, you'll see that there are permanent bookshelves between the columns and along the wall, and rolling bookcases perpendicular to the length of the library. These rolling bookcases can be moved to create different learning environments. All right. With respect to the new city center catchment, we will be presenting 2 scenarios. The board is required by the School Act and policy to create a catchment for the new Audlin Crescent School. To seek meaningful feedback, staff have worked on 2 scenarios for the public to provide input on. These scenarios were developed with both short and long-term planning in mind, as the City of Richmond continues to build more residential units in city center. Feedback collected from the public on both scenarios will be reviewed by staff and provided to the board for their consideration when determining the Audlin Crescent catchment and the revised catchments of the 4 affected city center schools of Breakhouse, Cook, Talmey, and Tomset. So this map shows the existing city center schools and their catchments relative to the new school, which is the star. 8671 Odlin Crescent is situated in the middle of the existing Tomset catchment, and you can see its location relative to Breakhouse, Cook, Talmey, and Tomset. Also shown are the utilization rates for our existing 4 city center schools from the 2025 school year, and the projected utilizations for the 2026 school year without Odlin Crescent's capacity accounted for. As you can see, all 4 city center schools are expected to be over capacity, or sorry, 3 of the 4 schools are expected to be over capacity, while Talmey is at near capacity in these projections. All right, so in scenario 1, this is the proposed catchment of the new school: west of Garden City, north of Westminster Highway, east of Minaroo Boulevard, along River Road, and south of Canby. Scenario 1 proposes adjustments to the existing catchments of Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset to create the new school catchment. In scenario 1, Talmey catchment is actually not affected. However, we're providing you these details as we would like public input into both scenarios. The western portion of the current Tomset catchment between Garden City, Lansdowne Road, Canby, and River Road would be reallocated to the new school. The northern portion of the existing Cook catchment between Westminster Highway, Lansdowne Road, Minaroo Boulevard, and Garden City would be reallocated to the new school. The northeast portion of the current Breakhouse catchment between Minaroo Boulevard, Number 3 Road, Westminster Highway, and Leslie Road would be reallocated to the new school. The projected 2026 enrollment for the proposed changes to Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset catchments is shown in the yellow boxes, with the total projected enrollment at Odlin Crescent at 294 students. This represents the students that live in the portions of Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset catchments that would be eligible to attend the new city center school in 2026. A final adjustment would help balance the catchments between Breakhouse and Cook by reallocating a portion of the Breakhouse catchment between Granville Avenue, Westminster Highway, Number 3 Road, and the residences between Minaroo Boulevard and Minaroo Park to Cook. All right. The net impact of scenario 1 will result in the projected enrollments at all 5 schools as shown in the green highlighted numbers for 2026. For reference, the operating capacities of each of the schools are provided. Projected enrollment for 2026 will put Odlin Crescent at capacity, Talmey at slightly below capacity, with Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset expected to be over operating capacity. Note that when modular additions and portables are included, Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset can meet our projected 2026 enrollment needs. This table shows the 2025 school year enrollment at Cook, Breakhouse, Tomset, and Talmey. Scenario 1 with Odlin Crescent shows we are projected to be at near capacity for 3 of the 5 city center schools in the 2026 school year and over capacity at 2. Our facilities planning group have also looked at the projected enrollment through 2030. And as you can see, all 5 city center schools will be over capacity if the scenario 1 catchments are approved by the board. At this time, are there any questions about scenario 1?
Jonathan, nothing yet. So if you want to keep going, because I know the Talmey involvement in scenario 2 might generate more questions. So if you want to keep going,
Sure.
keep monitoring. Thank you.
Sure, we'll proceed. All right, on to scenario 2. The scenario 2 proposes the new city center school catchment to be west of Garden City, north of Ackroyd Road, east of Gilbert Road, along River Road, and south of Brown Road. This differs from scenario 1 in that less of the existing Cook catchment is affected. A different section of the existing Breakhouse catchment is proposed, and a southern portion of the existing Talmey catchment is reallocated to the new city center school. Scenario 2 proposes adjustments to the existing catchments of Breakhouse, Cook, Tomset, and Talmey to create the new school catchment. The western portion of the current Tomset catchment between Garden City, Lansdowne Road, Cambie, and River Road would be reallocated to the new Audlin Crescent School. This is the same as in Scenario 1. A portion of the current Breakhouse catchment area in the northeast between Elmbridge Way, Ackroyd Road, Gilbert Road, Alderbridge Way, and Number 3 Road would be reallocated to the new city center school. The northern portion of the current Cook catchment between Ackroyd Road, Lansdowne Road, Garden City, and Number 3 Road would be reallocated to the new Audlin Crescent School. A portion of the current Talmey catchment between Garden City, River Road, Cambie, and a northern border running between Capstan Way and Sweet Avenue would be reallocated to the new school. This accommodates the expected enrollment growth spurred by the newly completed Capstan station on the Canada Line. Projected enrollments for 2026 for the changes to Breakhouse, Cook, Tomset, and Talmey catchments are shown in the yellow boxes, with the total projected enrollment at Audlin Crescent at 292 students. This represents the number of students that live in the portions of the affected Breakhouse, Cook, Tomset, and Talmey catchments that are eligible to attend the new city center school in 2026. There's a final adjustment made to balance enrollment between Breakhouse and Cook, reallocating a portion of the current Breakhouse catchment between Granville Avenue, Westminster Highway, Number 3 Road, and Minaroo Boulevard to Cook. Focusing specifically on Talmey, in Scenario 2, a portion of the current Talmey catchment between Garden City, River Road, Cambie, and the northern border running between Capstan Way and Sweet Avenue would be reallocated to the new school. Scenario 2 projects that 18 students in this area would be eligible to attend the new school in 2026. Overall, Scenario 2 will result in the projected enrollments of all 5 schools as shown in the green highlighted numbers. For reference, the operating capacities of each of the schools are provided. Projected enrollment for 2026 will put Audlin Crescent at near capacity, Talmey at below capacity to accommodate projected future enrollment growth, while Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset are expected to be over operating capacity. Note that when modular additions and portables are included, Breakhouse, Cook, and Tomset can meet our projected 2026 enrollment needs. This table shows the 2025 school year enrollment at Cook, Breakhouse, Tomset, and Talmey. Scenario 2 with Audlin Crescent in 2026 shows we are projected to be at near capacity for 2 of the 5 city center schools in the 2026 school year and just over capacity at 3. Our facilities planning staff have also looked to projected enrollment through 2030. And as you can see, all 5 city center schools will be over capacity if the Scenario 2 catchments are used. All right, at this time, are there any questions about Scenario 2?
Hi, Jonathan. Not specifically about Scenario 2. We'll do our best to try and respond to anyone who's asking very specific questions. But at this time, the feedback that we're looking for is really about the maps and about what the public feels makes sense in terms of trying to achieve the goals of balancing enrollment in city center. So it is a little bit difficult for us to try and answer very individual questions specific to your family. Please feel free to come out to the open house next week if you have something that you'd really like to ask us in person. But once the board makes a decision about the catchment maps in November, it will be easier for us to address specific questions for families. It's challenging for us to do that this evening. I guess the key ideas, while we're waiting to see if there's any specific questions about the maps, are that there are 2 scenarios that Jonathan's presented tonight. Those maps you can see again within the survey that's on our district website. There are open text boxes where you can type in thoughts and responses to the scenarios presented by the planning team and Jonathan this evening. We would really appreciate your feedback as to what makes sense to address the city center enrollment pressures that Jonathan has outlined this evening. So while we're just giving folks another chance, just to remind you of the public feedback period is open until October 27th. So please take the opportunity to engage and to provide your feedback. Cindy reviewed how you can do that, and we'll just pop it up one more time. There is a website right on our school district homepage. When you land on the page right now, it's a nice big banner right on the homepage. You can also get to it in the link on your screen, or the QR code will work if you have a mobile device handy. You can submit more than one survey. So if you have some thoughts tonight that are fresh in your mind that you would like to go into the survey and share with us, please do so. You can also go back in a couple weeks and share some more ideas as you're able to maybe review the maps or walk the area or think about some different things that you'd like staff and the board to consider as part of this process. So I will leave that up just so folks understand that you have different ways that you can reach us. Jonathan and Cindy, I'll just turn it over to you to see if there was anything else you'd like to add tonight.
No, nothing additional to add other than the fact that we are genuinely interested in feedback in both our scenarios.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time out of this beautiful Thursday evening to spend with us on Zoom. We hope that being able to see some of the maps and hear Jonathan articulate the 2 scenarios was informative for you, and we look forward to receiving your feedback through the district website and the survey. We wish you a wonderful rest of your evening and good weekend ahead, and hope your kids had a wonderful second week at school. So thank you so much for being here tonight, Talmey families. Have a nice evening and take good care.